Hello and welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planets. You are watching Daily Dive. It is Monday, March 31st, 2025. I am your host, Michael Carvelis in Guyton, Georgia. We are live on 12 on Sports via YouTube, Roku, and Fire TV. Subscribe to the 12 on Sports YouTube channel for other great shows and live sports, such as the Box Lacrosse League coming this summer. On today's awesome show, I'm going to react to the Week 18 NLL results in our Game Recaps segment. More about a new thing here when I look at the results of a game and think, what was the bigger story? Win or a loss? And we'll do the Warriors and Bandits for this week. And of course, 3 stars of the weekend, the best winning performances from week number 18. Without further ado, we want to first let you know this show is presented by the ticket platform on 12onsports.com. Head to 12ozsports.com. That's letters 12, numbers 12, letters ozsports.com, and go to the tickets heading, and there you can search for National Lacrosse League tickets. We appreciate you as you get your tickets for less, and the website includes every sport, including all your favorite artists, concerts, not to mention Broadway and theater. Again, go to 12onsports.com and click the tickets tab, or go to 12onsports.com/tickets. And I will make a graphic for that one, like probably today, actually. I probably should have done that before the show. I didn't. Shoot me. Okay. Game recaps for week number 18. Of course, there you'll see Mr. Clutch, Andrew Q. I think every time the Georgia Swarm have an overtime game, if they do win, Andrew Q makes the shot. So terrific job by him as they beat the Thunderbirds. We'll get to that game in a moment. On Friday, there was, one game? Yeah, there was one game on Friday. It was the Ottawa Black Bears walking into Philly and spanking the Wings 13-5. It honestly feels like the Philadelphia Wings have checked out of their season, knowing that they may not have a team next year. I hope that's not true, but it feels that way, at least for some people. As for the Black Bears, Jeff T had 4 goals. Taggart Clark has had 4 goals. Callum Jones had a goal in just his second game back. Zach Higgins made 41 saves, but he didn't have to do much. Mitch Jones had only 3 primary assists, took 12 shots. Joe Rosatiris had just 1 goal on 16 shots. Brandon O'Neill wasn't much better, scoring only 1 goal. And the Ottawa Black Bears continued their tear through the last 3 games. I don't know what woke them up in the last few games, but they are now 7-8, including 2-1 in their last 3. And the Wings have fallen to 5-10, which is 13th of 14 teams in the standings. And it pretty much just shot their playoff hopes right through. Like, I don't know how it's possible they can make the playoffs, but it still is possible. Remember what happened with Rochester last year? It's pretty much what has to happen with the Wings this year, and then some. So there's that. And that was in front of 6,487 people. Yeah. All right, on Saturday was where most of our action happened. We had 3 of the 5 games played. The San Diego Seals were down 12-6 to the Rochester Nighthawks, and they made a furious comeback to tie the game. However, Ryan Smith, one of his 5 goals, was yet another power play goal as he found the back of the net with 10 seconds left. Seals couldn't do anything after that. 14-13, Nighthawks get the win. Connor Fields had a hat trick and 8 loose balls. Of his 19 shots, 15 of them were on goal, which is very impressive. Rylan Hartley only had to make 40 saves. Zach Currier continues to put up video game type numbers with 1 goal, 3 primary assists, 1 block, 12 loose balls, and 2 caused turnovers. He was electric. Trey LeClaire had 4 goals, but again, it was not enough. Seals are 8-7. The Nighthawks improved to 9-7 with just 2 games left on their schedule. In case you're wondering, I have that right here, wink, wink. Rochester has to play versus Ottawa and then versus Toronto. So they are on fire. They look incredible. Andrew Q has 4 game-winning goals. His team has 8 wins. Always coming out clutch, right on cue. Pat Gregoire, that was beautiful, actually. That was a great point. But yeah, Seals lost in front of 5,463 people, and that's impressive for Rochester considering there was no Buffalo fans in town, so that was awesome. Cue ball! We're going to get to him in a minute. But yeah, Rochester gets a big win, 5 goals for Ryan Smith. Vancouver Warriors, listen, we're going to talk about this in the next segment. I told you guys again, in front of the 3rd sellout this season for the Buffalo Bandits, who had 1 sellout last year, guys, the Vancouver Warriors, they won a game I thought they could. I ended up being a fool and picking the Bandits, even though for some reason it could happen like a couple of weeks ago when I go on NLLstats.com and check the could happen tab where you predict the future. I picked the Warriors, and then for some reason, like on Friday, I'm like, no, I'm going to pick the Bandits, and it shot me in the face. That's a second gun reference. I'm not going to do that again. Anyways, Buffalo Bandits could not get it done. 13-12, Warriors get the victory. Keegan Ball will make a 3 stars of the weekend, by the way. Was impressive with 4 goals, 4 primary assists. Christian Del Bianco made 40 saves. And here's the thing that pissed me off, okay? I made a video. I 1,000% knew Buffalo fans were going to call me fat, losers, and etc. And you guessed it, they did. But my video was me expressing triumph in the Warriors' victory, but anger at the Buffalo Bandits, okay? So Nick Weiss, in like the 3rd quarter of this game, send this to all your friends and clip it, by the way. Clip it! According to Jake Elliott. Send this to your friends when I say this, okay? Nick Weiss and Dylan Robinson made 2 of the dirtiest plays I've seen in a lacrosse game. I've watched for almost 3 full seasons now. I know box lacrosse is physical. These plays were dirty. Ryan Martell is going for a loose ball. I forgot the player's name, but someone already pushed him to the boards. Nick Weiss, who has been gaining quite the reputation of penalty minutes, decided to check Ryan Martell when he was already this close from the boards, basically snapping his neck. I don't know if that was the intention. It was a dirty play. Okay, you're like, whatever. Then, final minutes of the game, Ryan Martell is going towards the crease, does not even make contact with Matt Vince, is pushed by Chase Fraser, and then at the last seconds, Dylan Robinson checks the guy in the back of the neck. Dylan Robinson, I could have sworn you've been injured multiple times in the past few years, correct? I'm just curious. Dylan Robinson, why do you have no sympathy for players? Why do you have no respect for your competitors? And what the hell was that? Nick Weiss, I can kind of let slide because maybe he didn't mean to do it. Dylan Robinson, that was a cheap shot. You should be suspended. What are we doing? Again, it's already bad enough. You got checked earlier to the point where your head snaps back like whiplash. I don't know if anyone's gotten a car crash. It's not fun. Thankfully, I've never had an experience with that. I've heard it's not fun. And then Dylan Robinson says, "Now, you know what? For good measure, let's check this." Wait, what was that, dude? Again, you are the person who has been injured multiple times. So what is your problem, Dylan Robinson? Not only is it selfish because you cost your team the game, it's also just a dirty, stupid play. I have no respect for people who do that. Again, the context of that play was Ryan Martell already hurt his neck earlier in the game. So Dylan Robinson tries to are you, like, do you realize that breaking a neck, I'm not saying he was trying to kill the guy, but what exactly is the intent there besides take a guy out for the season? I don't get it. He's already on the ground. You check him in the back of the neck. That should be, the league should punish you for that. Kermolowski, to his credit, so it's not just me, Kermolowski was saying get him out of the game. Of course, the referees, I don't know why they forgot Ryan Martell was hurt earlier in the game. I don't know. What I do know is that was absolutely dirty, bush league, and should not be tolerated in any sport. For the record, the UFC gets mad when players are hit, when their competitors are punched in the back of the head. I believe that's close, if not by deeming of a disqualification. So is it okay in a lacrosse game? Is that the creators' game we're supposed to respect? Just curious. I don't think the NLL is going to do anything about it, but it should be looked at. And if players have respect for each other, I couldn't tell because Dylan Robinson looked like he was trying to break a dude's neck. And don't tell me that was not intentional because you're lying to yourself. He absolutely knew what he was doing. He knew Ryan Martell was the one who was hurt. I don't care what Ryan Martell may have said to you or did to you early in the game. That is bush league and unacceptable and disrespectful to the game that people like to say is the creators' game. Sorry, no one else is going to say it. I will. But yeah, Warriors get a big win. We'll talk more about that game aside from that point in the next segment. Rush clinched a home playoff game with some help of some teams during the weekend. I believe the Thunderbirds' loss actually helped this out. But yeah, the Rush dropped 17 points on the Mammoth. 17-12 is the final score. 8,051 on hand at the SaskTel Center. Austin Shanks had a sock trick. I was very confused why no one threw a sock. That was like, I guess the Rush fans are new. That was very weird. Mammoth dropped to 8-7. Dylan Ward made 49 saves, and it meant nothing to his team. Jake Naso won 28 of 34 faceoffs. Ryan Lee had 6 goals of his own for Colorado. It wasn't helping. Colorado Mammoth got very upset when Mike Messenger threw Ryan Lee to the ground, and even Coach Pat Coyle took a penalty when he threw his challenge flag for basically delaying the game when you couldn't obviously challenge a penalty. They had 44 penalty minutes, but the game was already out of hand by that point. Just thought I'd make mention of it. And finally, Mr. Clutch, Andrew Q, 2 goals, a primary assist, and a game winner. No big deal. Of his 16 shots, 12 of them were on goal. Brad Dobson made 47 saves. Dawson Thede had 4 goals in his return, but it meant nothing. Thunderbirds drop. I believe like there's 6 of their last 8 games they've won. Georgia Swarm get a big victory. They're now 8-7, and Andrew Q comes through in the clutch once again. We come back to this awesome show. Let's talk about what meant more. Was it the Vancouver Warriors winning or the Buffalo Bandits losing? We'll talk about that. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sports book, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
America, get back on track with Dust Pod's Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water, Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We welcome you back to Daily Dive, the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. I don't know if you guys check the Daily Dive LAX socials, but we had 3 shows in the last 28 days of 10 or more watch hours, which I don't know if you guys, it's not like a big deal to most people, but for people who do like YouTube shows, it's actually pretty awesome because most shows in the last 90 days don't do like more than 2 hours of watch time. So we appreciate you guys tuning in and just watching this show, regardless of when it is. Speaking of, if you want to check out an audio-only podcast version, go to Spotify and search Daily Dive for safe listening. Alrighty. I want to first let's get a comment. Brad Taschuk says, still don't understand why the Dylan Robinson penalty had a goal taken off, and the penalty was clearly after the play. Agreed. You're right. I think you're right about that. Like Ryan Martell, I think, did technically score on that play, or one of his teammates did. And then it was a major penalty. Thankfully, the Warriors, I believe, scored at least once, maybe twice on that major. But yeah, it should definitely have counted as a goal. I'm sure refs know that by now. I think they inadvertently did that. Like, I don't know if that was like them trying to rig it for Buffalo because it didn't matter in the end, but not saying he said that, but that was a very weird play. I could be wrong. We could both be wrong, but it seems like it was a dead ball foul for sure. So I'm doing a new thing. I'm not sure how often I'll do this, but it's called More Abouts. And the goal here is to talk about a big game from the weekend and decide, was the game more about a win for one team or a loss for another team? So this week we're doing the Vancouver Warriors winning over the Buffalo Bandits losing. And so I'm going to first weigh out, get it, scales, that's a stupid joke. I'm going to first talk about why both sides have an argument, okay? This is just like, it's still big sports TV, but some sports shows do this. I was like, well, why don't we do it with the NLL? So, Vancouver Warriors winning, we'll start with the Bandits. The Bandits losing would actually be like why would their loss mean something? Because I believe all 3 of their losses are at home. Yes, they're 5-3 at home, 3 of their 4, and they're 6-1 on the road. And so, yeah, the loss in Albany obviously was the road loss. But this team, it makes no sense why San Diego, Calgary, and Vancouver have just clipped them. Calgary beat them up pretty good. San Diego and Vancouver's like, I guess Buffalo was a little bit vulnerable, if you will. And I made a video, again, clowning the Bandits. That was mostly because of the Ryan Martell thing. I think a 3-P would be awesome. And I'll put it this way. If the Bandits lose this year, it's actually kind of like, it's actually a really bad look, because I'm telling you, we're going to look back at this 30 years from now, when the NLL is like players are making millions of dollars, we're going to say, how in the world did that team have all these players? But regardless of that fact, the Bandits losing, it's like, is there a chance they can be had in the playoffs? The reason I'm going to push back on that is because Buffalo, I believe, can turn it on at any time, and I believe in the playoffs they might sweep the playoffs again. Like, I don't see a scenario after watching up 18 weeks of the NLL so far. I don't see a scenario where Buffalo loses a 3-game series. Like, I'll be transparent. I think Bandits are going to turn on and win the whole thing. They're going to 3-peat. Shout out to Grok later on, by the way. You'll see that later in the day on my Twitter page. So here's the thing. I actually think the Vancouver Warriors winning was a bigger story. The reason being, because remember I said after the first game Del Bianco played when the Warriors not just beat the Toronto Rock, they beat the snot out of them 13-8. I put the Warriors number 8 in my power rankings. Now, last week I didn't have power rankings. I had a bunch of schedule crap going on with me. But they then beat the Swarm 15-13. And they walk into Buffalo and beat Buffalo. Now, I know Bandits fans, and rightfully so, are going to say, hey, you know, our team made some boneheaded plays. Well, absolutely. But Vancouver punched you in the mouth. Vancouver went into Buffalo, a team that had no offense until 3 weeks ago, and absolutely was dialed offensively. And people forget who they have on defense. Like, yeah, they have Keegan Ball, Adam Shaw-Beatties, Kevin Crowley, Marcus Claridge, who's an unsung hero, on the offense. Their defense has Owen Grant, who's a menace, Ryan Dilks, Jeff Cornwall, like Reed Bowering. This team, and Matt Beers, who had an electric game. Warriors are stacked. Keegan Ball lit the Buffalo Bandits. I'm not talking to the fans here. They lit the Buffalo Bandits up. I don't think this was a mistake. I believe of all the coaches in the NLL that could possibly contend with John Tavares, it appears that Coach Christian Del Bianco, it appears that Kurt Malosky is the one that might have a chance. Because just like Buffalo and Toronto have all the players from the East, Vancouver is that team in the West. All the guys from British Columbia are going to start going there. And I think this was, again, a massive victory for Vancouver. I said that Buffalo was going to win the whole thing. I believe that. But this was like, man, this is the third game. The third game with Christian Del Bianco and net, and they beat Buffalo in Banditland. Like, that doesn't even make sense. There's a strong possibility that Christian Del Bianco goes from sitting on his couch more than half the season to meeting the Buffalo Bandits in the finals. That's insane. And again, I cannot say it enough. This offense has taken a huge uptick. In fact, I believe Dave Buchanan, who hates me, by the way, he doesn't hate me. That's another story. Dave Buchanan, terrible shot taking. Dave Buchanan of the Buffalo Bandits broadcast team, it might have been Steve Burmo, I think it was Dave Buchanan, who said Kurt Malosky was saying those extra 2 or 3 seconds help us offensively when Del Bianco can push transition. Huh? Who knew? What? I'm not smarter than Kurt Malosky. But what did I say on this show? The first episode after that Toronto game, I told you guys I was shocked how much those 2 or 3 seconds made. Again, Aiden Walsh at a 78.7 save percentage. I've been beating that drum. And yet Christian Del Bianco coming out of his net and pushing the ball up. Those extra 2 or 3 seconds, even if you don't score in transition, are massive for this team, and I can't explain it. But for some reason, it helps this team get off the floor a lot quicker. Also, side notes, the players kind of, this is not a report, it's just pure speculation. You don't think Vancouver players are playing a little bit harder knowing Del Bianco's in the net? No disrespect to Aiden Walsh, and I don't think Aiden Walsh might admit this too and might even see it himself. It feels like the boys are getting off the changing door a little bit quicker. The back door's a little bit easier to run faster now because Del Bianco's in our net. Just saying, I'm telling you guys, this is a monster win for Vancouver. If there's anybody that knocks off the Saskatchewan Rush or somebody else that is not named the Bandits, it's going to be Vancouver. And this game showed me all I need to know. Bigger story, Vancouver win. Even though I do think Buffalo loss is kind of concerning. But again, it's like I feel like they can turn it on whenever they feel like it. And again, I don't feel like they didn't turn it on when it's like, we know what to expect with this Buffalo Bandits team. Like, they're too good not to be true. I don't even know if I worded that correctly. We come back, 3 stars of the weekend, including 2 first-time winners. Wow, that's awesome. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't. We're going to wrap it up next.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
You need tickets to that next event? We've got them. That's right, tickets.12ozsports.com. Get you to any sporting event, concert, theater event that you can think of. And the promo code 12OZ or ROME gets you an additional discount. Don't feed the massive ticket corporate machine. Go to tickets.12ozsports.com and enjoy the show. America, get back on track with Dust Pod's Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water, Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Again, we thank you so much for tuning in to this awesome show, episode actually, of Daily Dive. It is Monday, March 31st, 2025. The time is about 1:28. It's about to be 1:29 actually, for those wondering. You don't care. It's now time for our 3 stars of the weekend, which is basically the best winning performances as chosen by me from all the teams. Again, you have to win, and the context does matter. Also, a reminder to go to 12ouncesports.com and click the tickets tab to get your National Lacrosse League tickets for less. Alrighty. 3rd star, Austin Shanks. Austin Shanks, you're like, a sock trick is only a 3rd star? Yeah, well, okay. Here's the deal. Ryan Kenyon also had his way, and the Rush really never looked back. Now, granted, part of that was because of Austin Shanks, but in those amazing Rush reimagined jerseys, he had 6 goals, 1 primary assist, 6 loose balls. Now, the 15 shots he faced, 13 of them were in Dylan Ward's vicinity on goal, if you get it. He was the 37th different player to be a 3 stars nominee this season for me, which doesn't mean anything to you. It means a lot to me. I have OCD. 2nd star, our 2-time winner, or at least 2 times making the list, Keegan Ball. I do think Del Bianco had some thunder in this game, but Keegan Ball made some shots where, like, Matt Vince was like, God, Lee, you can't stop it. Like, Keegan Ball was on a mission. 4 goals, 4 primary assists, which means he had 8 true points, 3 loose balls. So I just want to mention this. From here on out on the graphics, you will no longer see me counting secondary assists. I have come to the conclusion that they don't matter. And I've said it on Twitter before multiple times. I'm not explaining it again. I'm going to start calling these true points, and I'll call them primary assists just so you know. But 4 goals, 4 primary assists, the guy had 8 true points. Like Jeff T, 4 goals, awesome game for him for Ottawa. He had 5 assists, and like all 5 were secondary. Like that's 4 goals. That's 4 points. That's what you get. I don't like milking this whole points thing Because the tic-tac-toe things, I get it. But most of the time, like, the second guy, like, doesn't do anything in the play. So 4 goals, 4 primary assists. There you go. 8 true points. I'm not going to coin that term yet, but if anybody starts using it, you know where it came from. First star is our 38th different player to be of 3 stars. Ryan Smith. 5 goals, including the game winner, with like 10 seconds left. 1 primary assist. 13 of his 15 shots were on goal. See? I knew someone was going to do this. Pat Gregoire says, so if Christian Delbianco outlets, this is not an impression of him, just, so Mike, if Christian Delbianco outlets the ball to Owen Grant, who then finds Keegan Ball off the bench, well, okay, see, that's the thing. I do think, since we're obviously doing it, okay? Again, the tic-tac-toe does matter. But I know the stats people are not smart enough to figure that out. Again, that stuff to me does matter. And Christian Delbianco does. Maybe the goalie's getting an assist every time. But how many times? Again, there was a play, I believe it was Kyle Matisse when he was with the Black Bears, left the ball on the floor. 15 seconds later, Jeff Teat passes the ball, and the guy scores it. How is that a Kyle Matisse assist? It's still counting. It still is a secondary assist. It doesn't make sense. But why count them? Secondary assists, I would be okay if they were their own category. I can't believe I'm arguing with Pat Gregoire on this. I'm okay if they're their own category. But too many times we just pile them all as assists, and I don't agree with that. Which is why I'm very happy that Graham Perro does that. Like, I'm happy that you can now go on the NLLstats.com and differentiate that, because to me, it does matter. Like, we're just going to lump and say, this guy had 130 points. Well, did he, though? Like, again, this season, Dane Smith is on pace for a bunch of points, right? Actually, let's do Connor Fields. I love Connor Fields. Connor Fields has 109 points right now. Actually, he has 41 goals and 42 primary assists. That's a 26-point differential, man. That has to matter. And again, I'm not saying 13 of those 26 are not tic-tac-toe, but again, who's gonna determine that? We have to count primary versus secondary. One guy's arguing, the other guy's Pat Gregoire. That's one of the best comments I've ever seen. Post Kai the goalie. That's okay. That's a good comment. He fired me up, man. All right. This has been a fun show. Daily Dive LEX on social media. You can also see the link tree in our bios to click the merch on the shop, that is, or go to dailydivelacks.creator-spring.com. It's going across the screen. If you're on audio, I deeply apologize for that joke. You guys are insane. You're just piling on at this point. No, I'm kidding. Have a great day, guys. We're going to see you tomorrow, same time, same place on sports. And I low-key am thinking about pushing the show to 4 o'clock. Not sure when. But I don't know if you guys saw the poll on Twitter. I'll try to pin it again for those that care. But it feels like people want 4 o'clock start time if you want to engage live. So I'm not mad at it. Okay, you guys are insane. Have a great day, guys. This has been Daily Dive. Go to 12onsports.com and get your tickets. Bye.
Thanks for watching Daily Dive. See you next time.